there, Paleo family. Happy Saturday to everybody. I have a very, very special guest on today, Mr. Tony Kasandrinos of Kasandrinos Olive Oil. Tony, how you doing, brother?
Doing great. How you doing?
Fantastic, fantastic on this beautiful
Perfect.
Saturday. We were just talking before we hit the go switch that Kasandrinos has been a part of every Paleo FX.
That is true. Yeah, I think
Right.
we started our company probably about 4 or 5 months before the first FX.
Right,
So
right.
yeah,
And we were just saying how that seemed like, in one respect, it seemed like yesterday. In another respect, it seems like freaking 50 years ago, man.
yeah.
There's been a lot of work. And I know, Tony, you've put a hell of a lot of work into Kasandrinos olive oil. First of all, tell us, what is it about Kasandrinos that separates you guys from the rest of the pack?
Well, biggest thing, and a lot of people notice, we're actually not sold in grocery stores, and the reason that is because we only sell this year's harvest of olive oil. So we import our oil. We press our oil in Greece. It's an annual harvest. It's all organically farmed. It's certified organic, kosher, Paleo certified. It's got all the certifications, and then all our olives are hand picked and then pressed on the same day that they're picked. And those are the bottles that you're actually purchasing when you go on our website or on Amazon. Is the most recent harvest of olive oil. Unfortunately, just due to distribution and everything, when you're buying oil in grocery stores, it could be a year to 3 years old, which really degrades the olive oil just due to age. Unfortunately, it's not like wine and doesn't get better over time.
Right,
So,
right.
and then you got the fact that it's sitting underneath the incandescent lights all day long in the stores so with ours, you're really getting a quality product. Plus, it's about as fresh as you're going to find on the market. So that's really what does set it aside. Besides being a single source olive, so it's not blended with other olive oils from all over the Mediterranean. Which a lot of other companies do. They'll just buy olives from all over. Either Morocco or Italy or Greece, and they'll mix them together and then call it a product of whatever country they did that in.
Right, right. Now,
So
do I understand this right? Your family is from Greece, right?
yeah,
And
oh
you
yeah.
spent summers there
Oh, we
growing
go.
up?
Yeah, and continue to. I
Right,
generally try to make it there every summer. I've actually managed to go the last 3 summers, which was kind of hard juggling the military work
right,
as well. So I only get so much vacation time a year. But yeah, so I'll actually be going again this August, and then once I'm retired from the military, I'll actually be going during the harvest season, which is in the late fall, early winter time.
right,
So
right. This is,
yeah,
if people don't know, Tony is
yeah,
a master sergeant in the Marine Corps,
yeah.
who is, after 22 years of service. Thank you very much for your service, by the
I,
way. Um, After 22 years of service, Tony will be retiring in July to take up entrepreneurship full time.
full
Right,
time. Yep,
right.
that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Well, you've done a hell of a job. I mean, I can't imagine trying to juggle an entrepreneurial event while being in the service, because I was in the service too, and yeah,
Yeah.
there was no way.
Well, yeah. I learned actually after the first Paleo effects really early on, I was going to need help, and that's when I brought Effie, my sister and co-owner now, into it because it would have been impossible to just do on my own. The time's just not there, unfortunately.
Right, right,
I mean, it's just not. And then we've brought a few people into it since then, but it was just doing it by myself that would have been impossible. So
right. And
definitely have
that's
had a lot of help.
and you have an interesting story too. I guess you were at a CrossFit facility in Philadelphia, and you were
Yep.
like sampling this olive oil to some friends and
Well, it was
people
just
in the pops.
it's our family oil, and we've always brought over enough for us to consume, here to the States. And I just happened to have a bunch of it in the trunk of my car
Right,
that I had just gone back home to where my dad lives up in Rochester, New York, and I brought back a bunch, and I just had it there. And there we were having a birthday party, I think, for somebody, had a whole spread in the gym, and they had some I won't say the brand, but a pretty crappy brand of olive oil on the table. So I was like, let me bring my stuff in, you know. So I brought it in. Everybody liked it. Kept asking if they can buy some. So I was like, oh, maybe I should start selling this stuff.
Well, I can definitely taste the difference in your olive oil and other olive oils.
Yeah.
And but Michelle, my wife, who is a super taster and a chef, raves about Kasandrinos oil, and she won't. I mean, that is her go-to oil. And so uh, another interesting take on this is that she found out that she has an APOE3/4 SNP, which means she cannot handle saturated fats well. So she has shifted more towards a what you would call a Mediterranean keto diet,
Yeah.
which means a lot
of olive oil.
Yeah, yeah, and some people in those circles recommend up to a liter a week of olive oil consumption.
Yeah, you'll see a lot, and over in Greece, you know, even when we go back in the summers or growing up, you know, we're there as little kids, everything you eat has oil in it, no matter what. I mean,
Right.
you cook everything in oil, you drench all your vegetables in oil, you put it all over your fish, you put it all over your potatoes, Greek salads. I mean,
Right.
you know, you go to a restaurant here and have a Greek salad, and there's like maybe a tablespoon, where there it's like saturated in oil.
Right.
And then you dip your bread in it after. I mean, it's just like you're consuming a ton of it nonstop, and everybody does. I mean, it's just like it's kind of like how water is here. I mean, you just go through it like it's
right.
You know, there's infinite amounts of it there, and that's what everybody uses.
Right, and it is so freaking good, man. It is off the chain good. And when you work with like Michelle is an excellent chef, and you know you put great tools in the hands of an artisan like that, and you've got some spectacular food on the other side of it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that's a great way of comparing it. What I use as an analogy a lot, you know, it's kind of like getting, like if you're making a great burger, you know, if you just getting your run of the mill cheap stuff, it's like getting a McDonald's hamburger versus getting a nice grass fed, you know, pound or two of ground beef and making a nice thick burger, you know.
Right.
You know, it all comes down to the base ingredients. So.
Right. So so education is a big part of what you do, right? Because just like with anything else, something of very, very high quality, people want to know why are they paying the price for that, right?
So no, definitely. Yeah, we try and be, I mean, that's a big thing with us, is being as transparent as possible.
Right.
And we're actually going to be, it's been kind of hard over the years to really get a lot of good video content, but we are going there this fall to basically do a lot of video of the entire process of what happens from when we're hand picking the olives to them going to the mill, getting, you know, washed and cleaned and then pressed, and then getting them into the bottle and back over here to the States, just walking through the customer through that whole process, you know. So, but yeah, transparency, you know, there's been articles written and tests done where a lot of olive oil is fake, you know, so we always get that question, like, is your olive oil real and whatnot? Right. And we do a chemical analysis on every single batch of olive oil that we press. And then, you know, we post all those for our customers to see, and we gladly will send them to anybody, you know, because that's, at the end of the day, that's the one true test and measure of an olive oil, is doing an actual chemical analysis on it. We actually have two tests. We get one done in Europe and then one done here in the States on every single batch that we do. And then, so a lot of it is just getting across to the consumer, the customer, you know, what is the difference? You know, it all starts from hand picking the olives instead of using the machines to do it. You know, doing a single source. And then one thing which is kind of eye-opening to a lot of people is how many olives actually go into a bottle. And I'm sure you've seen our 3-liter can. Right. That's essentially an entire tree.
Wow.
An entire tree. Wow. So like when you're spending, you know, $55 for a big tin of oil, it's actually an entire tree that only we only harvest it once a year. So it takes all year for you to buy that tin of olive oil, So you kind of break down the cost. It's like, well, yeah, we're paying people to actually pick the olives, and we got to pay the mill to process our olives into oil. And then we got to, the whole process that goes along with it. But usually it's right around an entire tree of oil that goes into that can.
Right. And you're right. There was some articles floating around not long ago, looking at analysis of olive oil just taken off the shelf, and many of them were adulterated. Like it wasn't 100% olive oil. I mean, there's other oils in there, so that's one problem. And then the amount of those oils, it was actually rancid.
Yeah. Well, I think that's more the bigger issue is just the age of the oil and it going rancid. Because you could take our bottle, which tests out generally at a 0.3 acidity level, and put it on a store shelf, and 2 years later, sitting underneath the lights, it's probably not even going to be considered an extra virgin anymore. So it's like I kind of feel bad for those companies that got highlighted in some of those tests, because they could have been a really high quality, great olive oil when they were produced, but then due to the fact that they just sat on a store shelf, now all of a sudden they're rancid, or they're not extra virgin like they're claiming to be. Right. And that's really why we really try to get it across our customers that anything that you've ever purchased from us on our website or on Amazon just came off a tree. I mean, we're talking a few months ago, the thing was a little olive sitting on a tree in Greece, So that's really the biggest thing, I think, when it comes to the whole industry as a whole in America, is you're getting generally older oil than if you're getting direct from the company. And
can you define what is extra virgin olive oil? Because I think
doing a chemical analysis, it's doing the acidity level and where it falls, and it's above a 0.8 will be considered virgin. So it's got to be below 0.8 to be extra virgin.
Got it.
So there's a kind of a wide range of extra virgins as well. Once you get into it, and that's the only way you're really going to. Again, there's hundreds of different kinds of olives and olive oils, so they are all different. And it's not saying one's better than another. Different olives produce different olive oils, and they have different flavors, and you use them in different dishes. So a lot of it comes down to personal preference, But extra virgins, if you have them where they're close to that 0.0 acidity level, a year down the road, they're going to be a virgin oil.
Yeah.
So.
Is there any, and it's kind of getting off track a little bit, but I'm just curious, because where we live in Texas, and maybe not so much exactly right here where I'm at, but a little bit west, it gets very dry and arid. Are there any U.S. olive oil producers that are?
Yeah, no, there's a lot. California's probably got the biggest, and there's a lot of small producers there. And generally, California Olive Ranch, which is the biggest in the States, they buy from a lot of ranchers in California. And outside of the States now, most recently. There's some really good ones out in Arizona, Texas. Texas actually has quite a few.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, olives grow all over the world. They're indigenous to the Mediterranean region. But since then, I mean, Australia grows a lot now. They're growing them in India, South America. I mean, they're really growing all over the place now. So pretty similar to wine.
Right. What
spread out around the world.
Yeah. I was just going to bring up wine and Dry Farm Wines and Todd White. And the reason I like talking with both of you guys is because you're so passionate about your individual crafts, right? Yeah. Todd will talk for hours about, wine and what makes a quality wine, and how he bends over backwards to, pick the right grapes and source it properly. And you guys are, and you pay a premium for that. But the taste on the other side makes up for it. I mean, and the health benefits too.
No, definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we're, especially the fact that our name is plastered on the company. That's my last name, Right. So we, and there's not a lot of us, so we take a lot of pride in what we're putting out to our customers, and it's a big deal when your name's on it,
Right.
and what you're putting out there. And I mean, because it's a representation of not only myself and Effie, but our entire family, so
Right. And
definitely quality's number one when it comes to that.
So you guys will be at Paleo FX for round number 8.
I know. I always forget what year it is. Like, is it 6 or 5? That's 8.
Round number 8, man.
I know.
A crowd favorite. I mean, everybody loves Kasandrinos oil. You guys will be out with, I'm assuming, again, a bunch of samples. And
oh, yeah. Yeah, we got thousands of our little travel packets coming down.
Right. Well, we are really, really looking forward to having you guys again, and want to thank you for being supporters of Paleo FX for all of these years. And I know this movement and the paleo crowd really, really, really loves Kasandrinos oils, and I personally do too. And I mean, you can taste the difference. It's just, bottom line, you can taste it. Well, Tony, I look very, very forward to seeing you in the
Kasandrinos
crew. Yeah, next month.
Yeah.
Can't wait to have you back. And then shortly after that, you will be a free man. And I know how that feels. I didn't do 22, but I did 9, and I still remember what the last few months felt like.
Slow motion.
Yes, it seems that way. The days slow to a crawl. Well, maybe Paleo FX being in the middle of that will help speed it up for you a little bit. All right. Well, Tony, thank you so much for coming on. If anybody has any questions for Tony, just drop them in the comments section there whenever you watch this. And if you're watching this on replay, make sure you hit me with a hashtag replay. That'll bump it back up in the thread a little bit further. If you have any, like I said, if you have any questions about olive oil, Tony is your point of contact. He knows all. And make sure you get your tickets for Paleo FX, because we are really getting very, very close to not having any more. And we will always have expo tickets. The expo floor, the fire marshal is very, very lenient on the expo floor, but the fire marshal is not so lenient in other parts of the building, which is why we have to limit ticket sales in those areas. But the expo floor, Tony said he's bringing thousands of samples, so come on out and get one. Yeah, and you will really, really want to. You'll be glad you did. All right, Tony, I'll see you in a few short weeks, man.
All right, sounds good. I'll see you then.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right, bye.